right, so this is going to be another movie review. This one's called Force Vengeance, 1982. I'm giving it 5 out of 5 stars. I love this flick. Karate Man loves to use the word underrated for movies on IMDb that get 5 or less ratings. I think Karate Man's favorite word is underrated these days. This is going to be another Karate Man recommendation. Chuck Norris, a walking weapon that never misses. Force Vengeance. That's a cool looking movie poster. I like that. All right. Force Vengeance is a 1982 U.S. action film starring Chuck Norris, Mary Louise Weller, who gets raped and her dead body is naked. Oh. Then we've got Camilla Griggs. Never heard of her. The film was directed by James Fargo, written by Franklin Thompson and James Fargo, and it was filmed in the Crown Colony of Hong Kong and Portuguese Macau. I guess they're right next to each other. I don't know. I don't know which one is which, but it was cool to see 1982 Hong Kong and Macau. The ending, though, makes it seem like everything was filmed in Hong Kong. When the owner and proprietor of the Lucky Dragon Casino in Hong Kong refuses to let mobsters take over his business, he and his family are hit. Dragon Chief of Security Josh Randall goes looking for the head of the syndicate to exact revenge for the murder of his employer, friend, and mentor. Chuck Norris is like an adopted son in Hong Kong here. Almost. All right. The film was originally known as The Jade Jungle. It had Norris's biggest budget yet, costing $5 million. And it was from a major studio, MGM. The title was changed during production to Force Vengeance. Release date July 30th, 1982. Running time 90 minutes. Perfect. Country United States. Languages English and French. Oui. Budget $5 million. Box office $6,660,000. $6,660,333. So not much of a financial robust profit. They may have even lost money on this. I'm not sure. Variety wrote, in the unlikely event that a film historian stumbles across Force Vengeance 20 years from now. Well, actually, it's 40 years from now. He would probably guess that it was made somewhere around 1974 to 75. I don't know where that came from. In setting, plotting, themes, and action motifs, latest Chuck Norris pick is incredibly reminiscent of those unlamented Yank versus Hong Kong cinema syndicate martial arties of that era. Oh, okay, now I get it. So Norris was trying to recycle the 70s Yank versus Hong Kong syndicate martial arties. For Norris, who has given signs of trying to graduate from the genre, this is a step backwards, or at least is treading water. Kevin Thomas of the Los Angeles Times wrote that by the middle of the film, bone-crunching, flesh-ripping violence so dominates the screen that the film simply starts drowning in a sea of blood. Right on. We like police corruption. We like tons of nudity. We like the cool fight scenes. And this one, Karate Man is correct. This is underrated. By the end, it's hard to care, let alone differentiate between the good guys and the bad. I like the wrestling guy, the Hong Kong wrestling guy who rapes Chuck Norris's girlfriend. He's a pretty cool looking bad guy. Such wretched excess is especially lamentable because Force Vengeance starts off with a lot going for it, a serviceable, if familiar story by Franklin Thompson, some likable people to root for, unfailingly photogenic and atmospheric Hong Kong locales. That's another reason to watch. It's like a time capsule of Hong Kong in 1982 before the communists ruined it. Well photographed by Rexford Metz and a crisp direction by James Fargo, a Clint Eastwood alumnus. All right, who did James Fargo? Oh, James Fargo directed The Enforcer. So I better put his name in the description box before Karate Man makes me do it. Because I do have The Enforcer on my list. Matter of fact, it's number 73 on my list. Not coincidentally. Karate Man likes to bunch these together according to director and actor. Okay, that's fixed. We got James Gargo. I misspelled it. James Fargo. Here we go. Cool. See, you learn something new every day. Today I learned that James Fargo directed both The Enforcer and Force Vengeance before Karate Man woke up to put a comment about it. Richard Harrington of the Washington Post called the film one of Norris's less sterling efforts, a scratchy mono to the stereo of such earlier efforts as Return of the Dragon and Force of One. Part of the problem is a script that seems better suited to 60s television. I don't know. Will they allow all that nudity on 60s television? Because there's not just Chuck Norris's naked dead body girlfriend after she gets raped, but there's also a strip club scene in Hong Kong from 1982. Kind of interesting. Another part of the problem is Norris's monotonous acting. We like Chuck Norris acting school. It's part of the Jean-Claude Van Damme and Lee Majors acting schools. Jimmy Summers of Box Office wrote, maybe pairing Chuck Norris with MGM was just more than the karate star could handle. Instead of being one of his classiest movies, Force Vengeance is one of his worst. The presence of MGM veterans Tom and Jerry is the sole indication that this is an MGM movie. So at the end, when we find out who the real bad guy is, It's some old Chinese dude watching Tom and Jerry cartoons. Otherwise, it has the out of focused, grainy look of chop sake epic from China. We like 70s chop sake. Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune wrote, "The Orient is merely a canvas for what is little more than an American hoodlum story." Yeah, don't listen to Gene Siskel. We don't care about him. He's irrelevant anyway. We like monotone dialogue and lousy script. Those are the things we come to expect on this channel. No big surprise there. So don't be surprised or expect something. When you're watching a movie called Force Vengeance, expect or be surprised at something different than what the title suggests. All right. Force Vengeance, 1982, rated R, 1 hour, 30 minutes. It gets a somewhat mediocre 5.5 out of 10 on IMDb, 3,600 ratings. Not too obscure, but I did have to pay $3.99 for the SD version of this on YouTube. I hate using Amazon Prime because they always cut off the rolling credits. A casino security guard is forced into violence from when the Hong Kong mob threatens his friends. All right, more like this. An eye for an eye, A Force of One, Silent Rage, and Hero in the Terror. A bunch of 5-rated Chuck Norris movies here. We loved Silent Rage. I don't remember An Eye for an Eye or Hero in the Terror, but I probably already watched those and reviewed them. I can't remember. Tony Leung Chiu-Wai's film debut. Who's Tony Leung Chiu-Wai? I never heard of that person. In fact, casinos are now allowed in Hong Kong. The plot should be set in Macau. I thought Wikipedia said that it takes place in both Macau and Hong Kong, but the ending suggests Hong Kong. And now IMDb is saying Hong Kong. So I'm confused. Josh Randall, why do they always pick on my hat? There's some pretty good one-liners in here too. There are a lot of reasons to like this. Although I did enjoy Silent Rage more than this one. They're pretty close in terms of high-quality psychotronic movies. The cinema and video versions were cut by 50 seconds by the BBFC to edit a scene featuring a nunchaku and to remove a close-up of a blood spurt during the final fight on the boat. This was featured in Kind's Quest, Missing in Action, 2017. Here's a review from Predag Reviews, dated May 12th, 2016. This person is giving a lower rating, 7 out of 10. Still pretty high considering the average, though. The title of the review is on IMDb is it's called "Whoa, Ouch! That's a Damn Hard Hit." Force Vengeance is about much raw strength and nice evil characters, real characters, not the usual martial arts actors of the 90s. It's great. The plot has Norris as a bouncer in Hong Kong casino, where his father-son bosses are an adopted family for him. When the elder boss refuses to sell out his place to a proliferating casino chain, both he and his son are killed. The sole heir to their fortune is the partying daughter that Norris must protect from the greedy syndicate. So instead of party babe, now she's the owner of a Hong Kong casino, which shouldn't exist because casinos are not allowed in Hong Kong in 1982. The story isn't particularly good, but it's quite adequate in linking lots of fight scenes together without sacrificing too much logic. The pacing is what really makes this movie work. Director James Fargo keeps the story moving with claustrophobic camera work of back alleys, boats, rooms at the brothel, and other places where bad guys could and often do attack. So this is, that's a good description. Claustrophobic little tiny brothels and sampan boats. Not to mention some beautiful shots of Hong Kong itself. The fights aren't great, but there's some of the better ones I've seen from Norris, and there's lots of them. Some are even choreographed. That's because Aaron Norris is doing the stunts. Chuck Norris's brother. There's also a delightful non-fighting cameo from Richard Norton, Shanghai Express. The acting is good, though nothing spectacular. Luckily, there's plenty of action. I've never seen Norris look this cool. Highly recommended for fans of Chuck Norris. Overall rating 7 out of 10. All right. So what are they talking about Richard Norton here? And I may have forgotten to put Aaron Norris as the associate producer for Silent Rage. Well, I don't see Robert Norton here. And of course, nobody's in the chat room to help me here. So I'm just going to type up Silent Rage. I'm going to see if Aaron Norris is missing on there. I should talk about going down my list, but what the heck? I'm getting all these text messages. Oh, I did put Aaron Norris on there. What am I thinking? So I've got to go back and check to see how many videos are on Cult Movies 12. Because I think I'm only supposed to have 200. And I'm getting close. Going down my list. Let's see what we got here. We've got Marnie, 1964. Remedy for Riches, 1940. The Delta Force, 1986. And that's the end of my review. Laters.